Okay, well, we better get started with the pledge to the flag. All rise. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. And Happy New Year to some that I haven't seen for a while. Okay, roll call.
Mark Foltz.
Here.
Mark Frazier.
Here.
Francis Griffith.
Here.
Kelly Schmidt here. Frank Moore here.
Okay. Kelly, we got your tight agenda. Any additions or corrections? Motion to approve?
Approve. Motion.
Outlined. Okay, second?
Second.
Butch, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. January 8th, regular meeting minutes. Here's somewhere.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion made to,
Only one page for as long as the meeting was?
Yeah, there's a couple lines of stuff.
and seconded, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have a short public comment section here, public comment section, okay. Reports, sheriff report.
Last month, there were 142 responses, and 53 of them were traffic stops.
Okay. What's a 911 hang-up? Is that what they call and just hang up?
That's right.
9 of them, okay, well, all right.
They have to check those, I mean, because, you know, what
And
if somebody was in,
From our county, obviously.
Township.
Not, or from our township, okay. Okay, thank you. Mark, you're on. See some?
As you can see, we were down on calls this year. This was the end of year calls. Ended up with 1,694 calls for the year. Down 138 in ambulance. Actually ended up just down 19 totally. But most of the calls that we missed on were no transports. You don't charge for those anyway. So in the end, it doesn't affect our income much with that. Leading to that, the chief will be here at some point in time to discuss.
Today?
No, I don't think so.
That's right.
Over the next couple months, he's gonna hit every municipality we serve to discuss raising what we call the rooftop fee. Because we've had to enact another raise to the ambulance people. Because we're starting to lose paramedics to some of the bigger departments, and paramedics are very difficult to replace. EMTs aren't too bad, but paramedics are tough. Now, we did pick one up from MMR the other day too, so.
Just a comment back to them, of course, is from the sheriff, and the fact that he really appreciated the response that Perry area gave when the car went over the bridge on I-69. He was very impressed with the way they suited up, got in the water, took care of it, actually administered 3 times the CPR, got him going once, but it just, you know, he had hypothermia. It's just too much, and then he passed, but, and Brian talked to me about it too. So the sheriff was very thankful and thanked when we passed that on.
Appreciate that.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's pretty much it.
Now we're into DDA and zoning. DDA, we met on January 15th, and we noted that the light bill was paid to Consumers Energy back on 11/6. Again, we meet every quarter. Spartan Fence, we talked a little bit about the property that's possibly going to be sold on Bennett Drive. We talked a little bit about Bennett Drive needing repaving. That's a through road, and we discussed that in our meeting before that meeting, that we would pay half of the roughly 80 or 82,000, whatever it's going to, when they get their bids in this next week, we'll know firmly, but the DDA board will pay half of that, 42,000, for the pavement of Bennett Drive. The board also asked me to get with Brett Freeze and look at the possible cost down the road in a year or so about Rose Boulevard, the dead ends area that's on our DDA. He did look at that, and we're getting an estimate on that. Membership, Joe Audio did some, and Kelly Hasjoadia and Brian Feifels re-up for another term, which we'll have to vote on tonight. They approved their budget, which basically added a line item for the roads and basically kept it the same as last year. And that was it on that, DDA. Zoning, I did have a file. We got some new ones the first of the year. Perry Township, we had a ticket, one that was resolved. We had violation of zoning by business. We have junk and property, junk and junk. And this is available for viewing in our township at the hall. And that's that. John, we have a county commissioner here. John has a couple vital things to tell us about the health and welfare of our county.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. I'd like to make a comment on, there's been a lot of talk about more money for roads in the state, and that they'd want to add, pennies to the gallon of gas tax, 45 cents or whatever they want to add, or they want to float a bond and do it all next year. Well, let me tell you something. There is more money going for township, cities, and everything because the gas tax has been moving up, and that money is being distributed under the formula that we've used for a long time. But if you throw something in like $2.5 billion for roads, the cost of blacktop will go through the roof per ton. And the people that will really get whacked are all of us. And it's a poor scheme. It's called a scheme. Because to borrow that $2.5 million, you're going to pay $1 billion. You're going to pay $1.5 billion in interest. Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense of any kind. So anyway, I just like to comment because making a lot of road commissions nervous. I think 2 years ago it was $56 a ton. Now it's $62 a ton. It's going to grow. So
What you're saying, John, is we're going to have platinum roads.
well, yeah, more on the road than the car you drive.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna be paying is we're platinum,
Yes,
but they may not be platinum roads.
yeah.
Their mainline paving project, that one is already firm for this year though, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Also too is that the road commission will have a 6-year plan. It'll be coming out next Tuesday. I've asked for maps. I'll get you a couple maps. They show the color where they're working, and they, you know what, they've done fine. They're doing a good job. Other things, I've met all month in January and all month in February with the retirement programs are changing quickly. Also, the people who underwrite those programs, like MERS, Nationwide, and other people who are involved in all that, they're moving to a model like they're an investment firm, and they will find you categories of investment. Some pretty safe and some more aggressive. We met with Nationwide. They have quite a program. They had it all mapped out. And basically what they're saying, everybody's going to go to like a 401A, private sector's 401K. We use the model the state has. The state uses a model of if the employee has to put in 4%, the state puts in, or 3%, I'll just use figures, 3%, the county put in 3%, but you also are allowed, besides the 401K, you could have a 457 also. So if you put money in your 457, I'm the county employee, and I do both, the county will kick in a total of 6% of the money.
Wow.
So top end would be 10. And that's in line with an awful lot with governments and everything. Right now, we're almost in the 25% category, which is, of course, not sustainable. 10% is, but a lot of people will only be in the 401A. Some will get maybe in later, the 457. If the program does real well, you can if you have if maybe you worked in the private sector and you get a 401 somewhere, 401k somewhere, you'll be allowed to put your 401k money into the 401a. So there's going to be and then also too is that the county, you're only obligated to be with the county 4 years. If you leave before 4 years, the county portion comes out. But after 4 years, you're vested after 4 years. So if you left in the 5th year, take a better job, or went in the private sector, you are vested. Right now, the vesting is 10 years. But again, what the county's after, and we have to go to this, the Treasury is sitting on our doorstep every day, is that you need to expense your retirement system every year. So on December 31st, you're paid everything out, and on January 1st, you're starting a new year with no legacy costs.
They want to get rid of the defined benefit.
Yeah, we're one of the last counties that really, now there's all sorts of defined benefit with a bridge like to a 457. New employees, 401A, 457. Some counties put it out there that they will pay you to go into the 401k, but then there's obligation to MERS that stays there. Our obligation to MERS runs through like 3038, and each year, so this year, our normal contribution for MERS is $880,000 roughly. Dollar here, dollar there. But we're paying them $4.6 million. Now, we've been very fortunate the last 2 years, especially this year. Our tax rolls have increased. Our SEV has gone up real well. It looks like we're going to have another good year for SEV, especially because of the solar farm. The solar farm, if you get a chance, drive up there if you're on 21 out of Corunna and go down to Duran Road, turn left and you'll run right into it. It goes from 21 to New Lothrop. There's 1,240 acres of perfectly set, straight posts. And they use our GPS system in the county, which the drain office has. They use our system, and they get out there, line it up, boom, go to the next one, use the GPS, boom, and everything is square, 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 square. It's really something to see. And it's the biggest one east of Mississippi.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There might be bigger ones someday somewhere else, but it's mammoth. And they've added acreage. And they're thinking about, there's a lot of people up there found out what people are going to be paid for leasing their land. And some of them that initially didn't want to get in on the deal are lining up saying, we want you to build it bigger. It'll end in talking to the gentleman who is his head supervisor, Brian Tim or whatever. I got his card in my desk. But anyway, eventually when they're finished, 5, 6, or 7 people will have full-time jobs there. Because even mowing the grass underneath the solar panels is a continuous process. 1,240 acres, a lot of grass to cut. That's pretty fascinating. Also, too, is that we formed an investment committee. And through statute, our treasurer, Julie Sorensen, is our lead person on that. Basically, we tapped 4 or 5 finance directors in our county that work in county entities. Jeremy Rook and myself sit in that committee, and Larry Johnson, and that's moving right along. And normally, Michigan has quite a stringent rules on investment. And last year, CLASS was one of the main groups that handles county money under the counties or under state statute and how they can invest. And last year they made 1.82%. Something that we talked about is offering, because we bundle money in the evening. We'll take everything that we have on hand, bundle it, road commission, talking to Pleasant View about their monies. Also, we would extend that to all governmental entities in the county. So if you have money sitting in a CD, I don't know, whatever percent you're making at all, but the more money you have, the better the 1.82 gets %. So that's been pretty interesting.
When it's liquid. Right,
Yes.
you can get it right back out.
Yes, you
Correct.
can. You could get it right back out tomorrow. This is quite a change. We
It's
haven't
basically
had,
an overnight,
it's an overnight.
what do they call those, paper, basically.
Yeah. And you can leave it in there for 365 days. You call tomorrow, you can have it tomorrow. It's the first, we haven't had really an investment policy for 22 years. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Because the treasurer, by statute, is the one who has to, is doing the deal. Julia will step up and she'll make sure that gets all organized and done. And she is. She's got a really good deputy in Amy Nichols, and she's pretty sharp, and both of them working together. And they've just about got everything all straightened out. All the accounts have been brought up to modern numbers. Remember, we went to BSNA in 2019 for the treasurer's office. So all the codes changed, all the numbers changed, all the bank account numbers changed. And they've got it just running pretty smooth. And this state comes back and tells us, state treasurer, and says, well, Charles County, there's a lot of funds with the state treasury that we owe you. Well, okay, what do you owe us? $10,000, you know? And no, they said this years and 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 years. And we're figuring it up, and it will be a real chunk of change.
Well, these are just uncashed warrants, basically.
Yeah. And also what happens, what's crept into the system the last 20, 25 years, if you don't get a report in on time to collect your money from the state on all sorts of things, they will hold 10% of that money if you don't file on proper time. And that could be for anything. I mean, usually we're on time, but maybe we weren't. Well, then you have to reapply to get that money back. And they usually get oh yeah, they got the report in, we'll send them the 10% back. Well, Taos County didn't do it because I had to go through the church house. It hasn't been done for 22 years, never. Yeah. So, there's a lot of things that are, boy, and I'm kind of happy I get a little bit of a county background because some of that stuff's this thick. A lot of changes coming. Again, retirement's changing because we're being forced. I shouldn't say forced. It's just going to be a lot more new program, and they really want you to go where you expense your cost. It'll say the same for employees. Like I know Mark has been how many years. I mean, that's all stays with it. But the new employees is what has to start. So after 20 years, you're a lot better shape financially on your legacy costs.
So how much are you vested now in MERS?
We have
I mean, how
100
funded,
million.
what percentage, yes.
What fund?
Yeah. Well, we're about 68, 70%, and after this year we hope to be 72. But remember when the plus 70 was really good? State wants you 100 plus. I mean, no exceptions. I mean they'll work with you, and might take you 10 years, but your whole program has to be modeled that you're going to be 100% plus. Now, we've had several of our departments who've done a good job of putting a lot more money in. And that's 911's doing it now, putting a lot more money in so they can get, I'd like to see them fully vested in a couple, 3 years. Also, Road Commission's done a very good job since 96, 2000 time. And then Pleasant View has in the last 5 years put in 17 million. So, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the way it is right now, I mean, you have to be at the county 10 years before you're vested. Isn't it less for elected officials?
8,
Yeah,
yeah.
for reasons.
By 4 year, 4 year,
Right.
yeah.
And, but are those, they have retirement taken out of their check besides the county's contribution, right?
No. I mean, they did for a while and made some changes
Right.
back in 13, 14.
Right.
And then we didn't make them pay a percentage.
Okay.
Well, that'll be coming. Well, you didn't do it this year. We knew we should have done it last year.
I mean, my point was if you had to, if they were taking portions out and you had to be there 10 years to vest and you left at 8, so, I mean, you, basically, if you left at 8 years, you were getting, everything was there is gone. right?
Yeah.
Where, I mean, the 401K type model, if you move around, it's yours.
It
It's your
goes
money.
with you, yes, yeah. And so tomorrow, we're meeting with MERS at 10 o'clock. And they have a similar program as Nationwide. Nationwide was very heavy into what we call the 457, which is government retirement, like a 401K, or whatever they call it. But they've completely revamped. There's another group out there that, I can't think of the name, but we're going to talk to them too. They're competitors. What's happening, they're all becoming competitors with each other, which is really good. Because what we want is we want the best programs for our employees. So instead of making 3% of what they have with Nationwide, they can make, this last year, it averaged 14%. And so there's been a lot of pressure on MERS and those people to change their model and how investments take place. So, and we're right there right now pushing real hard. Trying to think of anything else, right? Oh, veterans. Veterans are looking for more space for a while. We've been looking with them. We don't really have any county buildings that lend themselves to more, right at the moment, more space for veterans. We're now taking a hard look at, we have a piece of land that the county owns. We're also taking a look at a piece of land in Corona on Main Street that we would purchase and then construct a new veterans building. But we might make it a 2 or 3 story building for more space, but the bottom would be the veterans. Those are all discussion points. If a building did pop up that we could buy and renovate, that would be fine too. Some of the things that we're looking at, multiple entrance exits, slow traffic, easy to get to, easy to see, and we're just kind of running out of room in some of our offices right now, which has been, we've done a lot of work. We moved the 4-H, we moved Public Works and Grounds, the drain office. We didn't have to, we got rid of Pleasant View and all that stuff up there. Of course, that's all been sold now. They sold that building to a group. It's a veterans type organization for assisted living, and they sold it. And they're supposed to have their first wing finished by the end of March, up to renovating. Pretty hard for that building to be a nursing home in the future. It doesn't meet a lot of code on distances, ceilings, widths of corridors. But assisted living, that's different. That's a different thing. So if it's reused, that would be great. So I think that, any questions?
So that, the investment thing you're talking about, who are they looking at doing that through, where the overnight money goes away?
CLASS. They are in 82% of jurisdictions in the state of Michigan who invest overnight. And there's another group that's, class is really big in the Midwest, and the other group might be really big in the Southeast. I mean, that's all they do.
But I mean, I assume it meets the municipal.
Yes.
I mean, because we can't do anything where we risk it.
Nope.
I mean, by law, so.
Yeah, and that's all by statute.
Well, 1.82 is pretty good for liquid cash.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we get less than 1 on our checking and stuff. We have CDs in the 2s.
Their pay is about 13 basis, or 0.13 basis points. Yeah.
And you were telling me about the sheriff.
Oh,
Yeah.
sheriff,
Yeah.
turning 50. I told him he's a youngster today,
Yeah.
or last night. It's on February 25th. It's at Rivals, right there at the intersection of 21 and State Road, or Shiawassee Street, or what you want to call it. 5 to 7. Come and wish them happy birthday, and
Free hot dogs, or free hamburgers.
free hamburgers and refreshments. I didn't know what kind of refreshments. Refreshments. Fries, yeah. So if you're so inclined to celebrate, he'd like to have you there, so.
What's the date again?
It's February 25th,
5 to 7.
5 to 7. I can't think what 25th is.
Rivals?
Yeah, it's Rivals.
That's it.
That's in the Kmart building, isn't it?
Used to be,
Yeah.
What is the sport bar?
yeah, it was the,
Oh.
Catholic
Yep.
Sports.
It gets a new name
I asked him if he was gonna have a B-Day cake, and he didn't seem to know.
That's
Yeah,
a Tuesday.
Thursday.
the Thursday, February 25th, the Thursday, or
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Oh, Tuesday.
25th.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Oh, and your Thai Lincoln Day dinner, this is February 17th. Bill Ballinger will be our speaker.
That's right, that's right. Okay, thank you, John, for that complete
Yeah.
and accurate report.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well,
all right, let's see, we want to move on to Mark and the library. Big report.
Not a lot, mostly building stuff. They've approved or have the plans for doing a remodel of the Terry Library. And
Oh.
it's basically just resetting some things, paint and wallpaper kind of thing. Same with Lennon, has gotten paint and some new fixtures. And they're moving right along on the one in New Lothrop with Hazelton Township, moving out of the school into a building because the school kind of wants the space. So that's pretty much what's going on with them right now.
Okay.
New computers are in place and
Okay, they got
seem
them
to
very
be
slow.
working. Yep.
Okay, good. And that's with Windows 10.
I'm sure it is.
Okay, imagine it is. All right, thanks, Mark. Troy, I-69 trade corridor,
Our meeting's not until next week.
check. Mark, back to you, SCDP.
Two things,
Okay.
the program was about jobs and job training and some of the people from the state level and some of the regional stuff. There were some people there talking about that. And Shiawassee actually doing a very good job of being in the forefront of trade training, so that's a good thing. And Tim was there from Project Tim. And,
Tell us.
And there's been a revival of sorts from Department of Energy as far as the loan guarantees and some things like that. So there's a possibility that things are still moving ahead. He was pretty upbeat about the whole thing and pretty optimistic, so. I didn't realize that he spends as much time in Perry as he does.
Okay.
He lives in Williamston. His wife goes to Plum Bob's to get her hair done, and he stops at Huffy's in the morning for the coffee
Talks to
class.
Dave
It's in
and-
the front room.
Oh, okay.
Because in the morning, if you get there early enough, there's quite a group that sits around that table drinking coffee.
Okay, well, good.
So if you want to talk to Tim, that's the place to find him early in the
Be,
morning.
but his home normally is Williamson.
Williamston.
Any questions for Mark? Okay, on to the planning commission.
No meeting.
No fee. Okay. All right, next on our agenda is Troy, the pay the bills and financial report.
Okay, you've got your bills list in front of you, since, of course, our January meeting was a week late because we fell on the holiday, so we have, that one was longer, so this one is shorter. Nothing out of the ordinary, basically, winter tax revenue is coming in, so still got roughly a third of it still to come in or so, but, other than that, you've got your budget to date numbers and everything's in line where it's supposed to be. Any questions on the bills?
Somebody want to make a motion to approve the bills?
Me.
Second.
Okay, Mark made a motion and Butch seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Mark Foltz,
Yes.
Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Francis Griffin,
Yes.
Bill Schmidt, yes, Rick Farmer.
Yes.
Okay. Kelly may have something, but I have a couple correspondence I've got. One is from Keith Brown, he's the MDOT engineer from Davison. And over the last year, we have the new light on going north on
52.
52. And you get off-
Eastbound exit,
You
right?
get off the east and you get on, you stop. Okay. The other way, coming the westbound, you get off and you kind of wait and the trucks are looking and trying to pull out. And so anyway, we've been dealing with our local road commission people and also MDOT. And I sent them a message last week. Any update on the possibility of a traffic light installed on the north off ramp I-69 on M52? The 18-wheelers, sometimes to get around there, they get an early start, and then the guy from the MDOT is up there, the guy that gives the tickets is up there ready to ticket the fellow, and so it's a
There's been some
situation.
concerns because,
Yes.
the traffic light, of course, changes traffic flows there now. So when you're getting off westbound onto M52, sometimes there can be, plus the site isn't super good for northbound vehicles there. And the state police motor carrier has a habit of sitting there some, and we've had, a couple of our local businesses mention that, you know,
Take a look at it.
well, he
Yeah, there.
tickets a lot of people and stuff on it, so that, you know, really the only great solution to that on high traffic times is a traffic light. But
Exactly.
basically, MDOT is saying there's not enough crashes or traffic.
He
there
says
for
we'll
that.
keep the location on our radar to see if some more, the need is to be shown at the location. So they know about it, they're aware of it, but they don't have the backup that accounts for now for reviewing any crashes. So that was a response this week.
Well, that break in traffic would have been worse with the roundabout, because you never would have had a break
Oh, yeah, that's true.
to get off the
Yeah,
westbound.
yeah. And then also, I got something from University of, in Ann Arbor, U of M, Center for Local, State, and Urban Policy, our physical health in Shiawassee County. And it says we're pretty healthy. We're doing better than the average statewide. And as far as property tax revenue, our jurisdiction increased 70%. Statewide was 57%. Well, I think that's good. So
Over what period?
I put that in 2000.
Oh, percentage in reporting an increase.
Yeah,
It didn't increase 70%.
no, well, wait.
Wow, what happened out here?
Percentage of jurisdictions that increased.
70%.
Right, but you made it sound like our revenue increased 70%, it did not.
They did not. Okay, well, okay. And then,
It did not.
and if we're prepared for the next economic downturn, we're approximately 50% prepared. Statewide, they're 57%. So we're not quite as prepared as the state is on that. So that was a little email I got. What else did I get? That was about it. Kelly?
I received a notice from the state of Michigan, the Bureau of Elections. They let us know that our funding for half of the absent voter tabulator that we are going to be putting in place starting this March election. Everybody that requested, they had enough funds to pay half of the cost of those tabulators. So
After they sent us a message saying we weren't even gonna get the tabulator,
right,
and then the tabulator showed up, and then they sent a message saying they're gonna pay for half of it.
right. I like it.
That's good.
The other issue that we ran into was the Census Bureau sent us a map regarding the detachment that happened 10 years ago down on Beard Road. Apparently, they won't update the map because the state of Michigan hasn't approved it. So we are working with the Great Seal and also the annexation department of the state of Michigan to try to get that corrected. So right now, 10 years ago, Beard Road, there were residents that lived in the city. They wanted to detach from the city and become township residents. And
It was done by a ballot, and it was approved, and
multiple times we've tried to get this updated through the Census Bureau, and we think that it's happening, and nobody's telling us it's not happening.
until they send us a new map and it's not right.
Yeah. And
And
so,
then we're supposed to verify it, but they won't change it when we say that it needs to be changed.
so we're trying to work through all of that.
Basically, those 10 people there, so we need to get it switched so they're counted in our population and not the cities.
Right. Our revenues are okay with that, right?
Well, it needs, yes, we're a little perplexed because they changed our revenue sharing number when it happened, but yet they said they didn't update it, so there's,
It's half right.
It wasn't approved.
yeah,
It's, we're trying to get the stamp of Michigan.
Yeah. So anyway, that's.
We're moving at a fast pace. I mean,
it's only 10 years behind.
Right. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, good, okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
All right, public comment session
I
again?
do,
Okay,
I have a comment, on the roads. I remember Diane Byram years ago came back from Washington, she said that we were only getting 46 cents back on every dollar from the feds. Do we know where we're at on any of that?
I don't think it's changed much.
It hasn't changed
I
much.
don't, I, there are net receivers and net non-receivers. I mean, I don't know, but it may not have changed very much.
The whole road funding picture is complicated in terms of that. I mean, for example, most of the federal road funds go to the state of Michigan for MDOT. I mean, we don't get anything, for doing any local roads or anything here. And most MDOT projects are funded, with a mix of federal and state funds because they're eligible federal aid type projects. Our county road commission does get some federal aid money, and they are able to use it on federal aid eligible roads, which are generally major roads, and they get enough to do approximately a mile of reconstruction a year. I mean, isn't that Carlin Road this year?
1.8 of $7 million.
So the project in our area that was done most recently with federal aid money would have been Britain Road 20 years-ish ago between Perry and Morris when that was converted into an all-weather route. So beyond that, all road funding for Ellsworth Road here, for example, that is all just strictly state transportation dollars. That's a formula based that our county road commission gets based on the vehicle registration fees and gas tax revenue that goes into it, and it's a formula that goes back to the counties based on population and miles of road. And it works out to like a road like Ellsworth Road, the road commission gets somewhere around $2,500, $3,000 a mile per year to maintain that road, which of course is not nearly enough. And so then we, as a local township, we contribute into the road commission just using general fund dollars. I mean, we don't get anything earmarked here for roads. This board is always, and previous boards before it, has always earmarked roughly a third of our budget to go into, paying for improvements. So we put it in the seal code and then everything else, which we do jointly with the road commission.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps or if that,
Well, I work with the asphalt and
Okay.
cement companies, so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's right around $1 million a mile, paved road. Depends on how thick you want it to asphalt or whatever has to be done. Infrastructurally wise, underneath the road. So, I guess that's where, sitting over here, we've had a D for infrastructure inside the country for 15 years now. And we just give businesses a 25% tax decrease. It's like all those billions of dollars that businesses were telling us to use towards infrastructure. But we gave it to them anyways. And all they did was turn around and they rebought all their stock. It's like, I don't understand, I guess. It's like,
so, the law, how the federal money comes back, yes, we've always been considered a donor state as far as I know. But it's, those funds go to state, big state projects, they're nothing, they don't go to any of our local roads
the
here.
money's gotta come from somewhere.
Absolutely, yes.
It's gotta come from somewhere. We don't have money trees. It's like somebody's gonna have to say, look, this has to be done. We have bridges that are actually falling down. We have cement falling down on our cars as we're driving down the road. Nothing's being done. I know because I got hit by a piece of cement. Separated my hood off my car. Just like this, wham, right back on my windshield. Yeah, it was awesome.
Plus all the potholes.
Yeah, I know, I live right over here. And for the GPS thing, my GPS over here stops me at Glenbrier Golf Course, a quarter of a mile from where my house is at. So, I don't know, I've never heard that before. That's over in New Lathrop, huh? Okay,
Oh, no, the solar panel field.
so that's what they're lining up on for,
Yeah, they use GPS, which is, the reason we have it is for the drain activity, road activity. It gives heights, plus or minus, does it in color. It's really quite a system. Never get a chance?
Slide light on it.
Yeah, there's the term. And so they're using it and they're paying for it. I mean, the county's gets pretty good revenue with that.
And I am a supporter of solar power, especially over wind power. We still haven't gotten a bill on what it costs to shut one of these downs, one of these windmills down. I'm getting figures anywhere from $8,000 to $25,000 just to take one of them down.
Well,
Then you gotta recycle them, so.
okay. We got a couple unfinished business ones. Kelly, we got, our attorney is here, attorney contract. Okay.
So, Tom has agreed to extend one more year. Of the contract for attorney, to be our attorney. Same cost as before. So I guess we need a motion to approve the contract.
Motion.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Mark will make the motion, and Butch will second the motion. Roll call vote.
Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Francis Griffin,
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes, Troy Parmalee, yes, Mark Ford.
Yes.
Just a year younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you. Water property proposal. Troy. Troy, give us an update.
Well, Tom reviewed our proposal to put out for proposals
Oh, yes.
for that property and felt that we needed to have in our policy handbook a more clear procedure for disposing of that. Would you say that's a fair assessment, Tom?
Yeah.
And so Kelly pulled up Kelly acquired a sample one here, and, I mean, right at the top there, it's labeled as an ordinance. We wouldn't adopt this as an ordinance, we would adopt it into our policy book, you know. But, I mean, it would basically say that whenever we dispose of real or personal property, it would go out, you know, for sealed bids, unless the amount of the personal property was 500 or less, or that it would authorize not doing that if it was, to convey narrow strips of land or shaped or small as to incapable of being used independently as zoned or incapable of subdivision under other development ordinances and zoning set by Shiawassee County.
That's like the property that we get from taxes.
The property what we get from taxes, or, you know, our situation with the water property where there are zoning rules that restrict its use. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, we're not, I mean, yes, clearly if you had just a prime piece of property, you would put it out for some sort of bids, but, you know, our issue there is it's effectively a landlocked property. I mean, there's,
Swamped. landlocked.
I mean, and then that, so that subsection C then basically says that it has to, you know, be offered to the abutting property owners first, you know, to see if the situation could be worked out there.
Then it'd be in compliance with the county, so we.
Right. I mean, we do not want to create a non-usable parcel. I mean, I've worked very hard to eliminate these, not create more of them.
Is this gonna be okay, basically?
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you want to have Tom review it?
Did you?
Did I send you this? I can't remember.
I thought you were going to, but I haven't seen it. I mean, I didn't get an email.
Well, then let's have Tom, we'll have Tom review it.
Okay.
And then we'll go from
Proceed
there.
from there, okay.
Makes sense.
Any more discussion on that?
Not till Tom reviews it.
Huh?
We're
Not till Tom
nowhere.
reviews it.
Not till Tom reviews it. Tom, have my copy for now, and
I can do
that's
that.
the first thing I'll give you this year. Thank you. All right, new business.
I had emailed it to Tom, but we had some email problems, and he didn't get my original one, so that's why we had kind of a delay on
That's
this,
okay.
so.
MTA conference, okay, this has to do with the big one.
This is the annual.
The annual one in April, and, I don't know, Kelly, but
I
there's
don't-
some legal things, Tom, and we're hearing that you may want to attend that Monday session at
Yeah,
the
they have
MTA, because they've
the
got some
legal-
things,
Yeah,
new
I
things that's
don't-
gonna happen, and, okay,
That's a good session,
right.
especially
Okay,
since I don't get a lot of stuff from you guys that
that's right.
keeps me,
You don't get a lot of complaints from us, do you, Tom?
no complaints, I don't get a lot of work either.
I make a motion that we send Tom to the, or whoever that.
Right, we offer it open to the board. I personally won't be going because of the time of the year it is.
Yeah.
But it's available.
This is Traverse this year, isn't
It is Traverse,
Yeah, it's a
it's
long
not
ways
Lansing.
away.
Last year was Lansing, yeah.
it?
It's Grand
Last year.
Rapids.
Yeah, okay.
You and I went, it was
And
Grand
we-
Rapids.
Yeah, we
last
went.
year.
Oh, Grand Rapids, yeah, that's right.
So I make a motion to approve any board members and the township attorney to attend the MTA conference this year.
Second.
Mark will second that, roll call vote.
Francis Griffith,
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Fred Parmalee,
Yes,
Mark Cole,
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
And there's overnight accommodations if needed too, so you tell her what you need. Okay. All right, DDA appointments. Kelly's got a couple names for us.
Yep. So we received letters of interest for the DDA. Brian Fifley would like to continue on the Downtown Development Authority board. And also Joe Audio would like to also continue on the DDA board. So,
they were the two terms that are up, and we still have a vacancy, don't we, on it?
I don't think so.
No, with
Not right.
Stacy and Chris. Okay.
It's for the rest.
I'll make a motion that we consider accepting those two
For-year term.
for-year terms.
Second.
Mark seconds it. All in favor?
Oh, we gotta do a roll.
Roll call. Okay, another roll call.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Fred Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffith?
Yes.
Okay, like I said in my DDA report, the DDA budget, they put an amount in which is similar to last year. So we need to
Correct.
approve
So,
that.
well, no, we'll do that at our March meeting.
March meeting.
So
that's
when
just a
we,
notification.
next month, when we have the annual meeting and the budget hearing, we will adopt the TDA budget as part of the fund budget.
All right. A little over 200,000.
Basically, similar line items to what they've had. The lights, and the lights is their only.
Okay. Acquisition and disposition of municipal real and personal property.
Well, we already covered that.
Yeah.
Oh, how do we, okay, yeah, we did. Okay, check. All right. Supervisor training.
Is this where you go to find out how to get supervised?
There's a couple of them, Kelly.
Okay, so.
This is my
Mark-
bad ear, Tom, I can't hear up this. He sits over
I
there,
appreciate
you
that.
know, and I just kind of,
Mark has, is shown an interest in attending the Chamber Annual Dinner and Awards Night for 2020. It is, yep, tomorrow night, 5:30 to 9 at $45 for that one. He would like to attend the annual meeting, Shiawassee Conservation District.
February 12th. No,
February 20th, yeah,
February
at 5:30.
Thursday, February 20th.
Is that one free?
I'm going. I'm going now.
It's free, right?
Okay.
No cost.
You have to call in.
Yeah, you just have to ours.
I'll do that.
And then the MTA 2020 Capital Conference, February 26th. That one is $35.
Make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to attend the annual Shiawassee Regional Chamber Banquet, the Conservation District, and the MTA Capital Conference.
I'll second.
All right, Butch is second, and Troy made a motion, roll call.
Mark Foltz?
Yes?
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffith?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Ray Parmalee?
Have a busy month.
Yes. Busy year. Okay. Kay goes to those.
He's got Ben now.
But the capital conferences, I mean, that's a good conference. I mean, you network with
In fact,
legislatures. and
John,
everything.
to regress a little bit, the MTA Director of Regional Area lady was there and spoke last night. And
Yes.
She was there last year for the capital.
Okay.
All right, Orkin,
Yep.
pest control contract.
The Orkin contract is up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so if we want to renew that, it would cost us $864 for the year. We get a $36 reduction by paying in full. So
Is that the same as last year?
Same as last year.
Same as last year. Make a motion, we approve Orton as our bug manager, control program.
I'll support it.
Motion been made, supported.
Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Francis Griffith.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Craig Harmony.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes. All right. All right, now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the meetings.
We got set of slow dates, yeah.
Set 2020 budget work session meeting date and time. Budget work session, Kelly?
So this is when we go over our
Details.
line by line.
Details.
So we need to do it sometime in the next couple, well, we need to do it by the 26th. Because it needs to be ready a week before the budget hearing.
Can we do it the 24th?
Is that,
Monday? Does it work?
6:30?
you want to do it Monday or not the 11th? Monday.
What?
Mark said the 24th.
Okay, 24th.
February 24th, is that gonna conflict with any of your training?
I don't know. Well, the
February 20th.
26th.
No.
You said no? Which ours? The Shawwassee?
It doesn't conflict with
It doesn't
assessing,
conflict.
so.
The 20th.
Yeah,
Right, and then the next week we have a meeting,
I
right?
got my calendar in the office.
March 2nd.
February 24th?
Yeah.
What time can,
Well, 7 works better, but 6:30 I just have to cut on chores quicker. Just,
so I think Mark will be in trouble with his wife.
6:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a long meeting, so.
It is okay. So what'd you say, 6:30?
6:30 on February 24th?
And that's a Monday?
That's a Monday, yep.
Okay.
You need to make a motion to approve that?
Make a motion, we set the budget, we call a special meeting for the budget work session on February 24th at 6:30.
I second that.
Vote's fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we gotta set the annual meeting after we have our workshop, set the 2021 annual meeting, budget hearing date and time. March 4th, is that what
March-
we're looking at?
Well, I make a motion that we hold the annual meeting prior to, actually, I think we should hold
We
it
should-
at normal starting time for our regular meeting.
It's
You want to just do it at
6:30?
7?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't take long.
no,
At 7?
it's 7 on
Okay,
the
instead of 6:30, at 7.
4th, I think that is, isn't it?
Can you make sure that you know that?
Yeah,
It's 7 o'clock.
yep.
Well, that'll be the regular meeting is March 4th at 7, so we'll start with the
We just
annual
do,
meeting.
we just do the annual meeting, the budget
Okay.
workshop. at the
March
same time.
4th, okay. Motion been made, Mark, second.
I'll second it.
Kelly, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. All right, now we're coming to my favorite time of the evening, board review, dates and times.
Board of Review, dates and times, March 3rd, 2020 at 10 a.m. for the organizational meeting.
March 3rd, March 2nd or March 3rd?
March 3rd,
March 3rd,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Has to be on Tuesday.
And what time?
10 o'clock.
That's right,
in the
10
morning.
a.m. She'll be here with us, okay?
Make sure.
That's the organizational meeting, we're going to elect the officers for next year.
Let the officers and you accept the tax roll,
Tax
or the
roll.
assessment roll.
Okay, so that's March 3rd at 10 a.m. March 9th at 3 p.m., which is a Monday, March 9th, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. for appeals.
That's the first session,
Yep.
right?
And the second session will be March 11th, which is a Wednesday, at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for appeals.
Right, and that covers the rules.
And that-
We're leaving out Tuesday because that's election day.
Right.
That's the voting day. So, okay.
I make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded by Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, next one is Kelly, 2020 Federal Poverty Guideline and Asset Test.
Okay, so I gave you the 2020 guidelines, poverty guidelines and federal poverty guidelines and the asset test to review. Troy, you want to talk about what you think we need to
So
add?
when we were at our board of review training for the board,
Right.
you know, one item that the lady, supervisor assessor was at our table when we were talking about the guidelines and the asset test, and we we adopt the federal guidelines, which, are listed there, one person for an income of less than $12,490, and then it increases up, roughly $4,400 a person for that additional people in the family, or in the household, excuse me. There's also the asset test in there where there can't be, they're allowed a vehicle, but I mean, you can't have, resort property and, multiple boats and, that sort of thing to qualify for the poverty exemption, correct. One item that she brought up there too was, should we have, what they did in their jurisdiction was, if you had applied and received this for more than 2 years in a row, they would reduce it some the third year, which mean you'd be eligible for 80% per se. It's up to us what we want to do or not. We have never had anybody apply for multiple years. I mean, we had one that came in December board review, and she qualified and was granted it for this year. We really don't get many of them.
I don't think it's necessary, because you could run into a situation with somebody that's disabled or something that can't really work, and they're scraping by on what they get, so.
And what they did in their jurisdiction was they had that, but they changed the income thresholds. But that's why they had more people, because they went more lenient than the federal guidelines. You see what I mean?
Included more people.
Right, more people weren't eligible for it. So I mean, and that's where the trade-off is. But
I'd rather leave it just the way it is.
There was also conversation about, people, just moving into the township, say they just moved in, they bought a house, and now they're applying for a poverty guideline. So is that something we want to consider putting, you must live in the township for at least 5 years, or, rather than,
again, we have never had one of those
right,
exact situations. I mean, and we have the advantage in a smaller jurisdiction. We can tell if somebody is attempting fraud on us. The people that, at least I've worked with that have applied for it, I mean, they're in a tough spot, a very tough spot. And generally on the federal guidelines, it is very difficult to own your own home and qualify. To have enough money to just make it work, so.
Pay everything. So what we have here is just a guideline from the.
This is Tina gave us Tina
Okay, Tina.
changed a few things.
Oh, is that,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, one of the differences that, that you see there, our current poverty guidelines that we had last year, there were a couple items here that we need, I guess, do we want to keep them in there? Which is, the homestead being claimed and personal property used in connection with the use and occupancy of a household or a homestead.
Is exempt from the asset test. That's what it says.
Yes, up here,
Right.
yes.
Which I would think we would.
Okay, and also, all other assets up to the cumulative dollar amount of 25,000,
Right. And that's on top of the,
poverty exemption.
Right.
Yep. So, I guess, do we want to leave that stuff in here, you think? You want me to add it to this one
I
that?
don't think so. I mean, that's what we've always had it in there.
Until we see we're starting to have a problem, I don't see any reason to change it.
No, and we know, and like we said, I mean, we've had one or, I think in the last 10 years, we've had 3 or 4. And this is totally separate from the veterans exemption, which we have no, I mean, that one's set by state statute, so.
So we want to leave it as is then?
Yeah,
add these.
those 2 things. I'll make a motion that we adopt the guidelines for the poverty exemption and asset test for 2020.
I'll second it. Motion been made, seconded.
Francis Griffith,
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
And anybody can apply, I mean, they can apply at the March Board of Review, they can apply at the July Board of Review, or they can apply at the December Board of Review. So they have
3 options.
three opportunities throughout the year, and it qualifies for the whole year. For example, the lady we had apply in December, it qualified for all of her 2019 taxes, so that, you know, if something comes up, per se. And there's, you know, they have to disclose everything to us, they have to provide bank accounts, stuff like that. So it's very open.
Credit card, whatever, yeah. Okay, thanks. Is that it, Kelly, on that one?
Yep.
All right. Come to our last item, 2020, or the salary resolution.
Well, if we're gonna make any proposed changes to the salaries, we have to do it the month before the annual meeting, so.
Which is now.
Just now.
Which is now.
Right, has to be done a month in advance,
All right.
so.
Last year,
I think last year we did a $500, you know, just,
For the whole year.
right, you know, which is 2 to 3% type thing, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Doesn't matter to me, okay.
Yeah, I-
Financially, we're set, I mean, as far as the income, the
Doesn't matter
township.
to me.
Yeah. All right, I'll make a motion that we increase the salary by 500 for the year.
Okay, we have to do it for each office separately.
Okay. So I'll
For the
make-
total, what's
and
the
the-
total amount?
And these are then subject to approval by the electors at the annual meeting.
Sure, okay. I'll make a motion that the clerk be increased, the salary increased by $500 for the year.
Which would be 19-1.
19,
1.
100?
Yes.
Second.
Mark will second that.
Need a roll call on all of them,
Okay.
yeah.
Roll call vote.
Okay. Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
I'll make a motion that we increase the clerk's, or was that clerk you
That was
just
a
did?
clerk, yeah.
Treasurer
Great.
to 19-1.
I'll second.
Okay.
Motion been made by Mark, seconded by Butch, increase the treasurer 500 for the year, 19-1. Kelly?
Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes.
Now it's quiet.
I make a motion.
I'm not gonna say anything.
The motion we
Was there,
reduced
was
this.
the motion to adjourn? Yeah.
Motion to, just propose the supervisor's salary at $19,100.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Troy made a motion,
I'll second.
and, thank you, Kelly. Kelly made- All right, Kelly made a second, okay. Roll call vote.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes,
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis
I
Griffin?
turned my
Yes.
ears so I could hear. Okay, is that all as far as the salaries? The only little public comment, or other comment before we have public comment, the health department issued today an update on the
Yeah, that
the
thing.
virus.
Yeah.
CORONA, coronavirus, there you go, coronavirus. I just want to say 3 things. Avoid close contact with people who are sick, A. B, stay home from work or school if you're sick. C, cover your cough and sneeze in a napkin or a tissue and throw the tissue in the trash. And D, clean and disinfect frequent touch objects and surfaces using regular household cleaning, sprays, or wipes. I just want to pass that out.
Also drink Bud Light instead of Corona.
What?
Drink Bud Light instead
But,
of Corona.
and we have our county commissioner who has other ideas.
Yeah, no.
Actually, they came out with one today on the radio, and it was the #1 thing is wash your hands.
And wash your hands 20 minutes. I missed that. Yeah, okay, 20 seconds. Wash your hands, soap and water for 20
And
seconds.
then the 20 minutes.
Any additional comments? Any additional comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to dismiss.
Motion.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, guys. Good night.